Welcome back, Shark Kings. It's that time of the month again. Monthly games are available to download, and that means it's time to predict what games are going to be leaving PS Plus Extra. We're going to give you a 2-week head start, because we all know that the 1 month they give us is not enough to finish a game, let alone 2 games if there were 2 games that you wanted to play off of this list. So if you're new here, we've been doing this all year, and our predictions have been pretty good so far. What we're doing is we're visiting the PlayStation blog for July of 2024, and also July of 2023. We're going to go through the blogs and see what games came here 2 years ago and 1 year ago, because a lot of the games on PS Plus Extra have 1 year or 2 year contracts. So if you're looking for the super fast version, I'm going to give you a list of games right now, front loading the content, and all I ask for in return is to leave a like on your way out to tell YouTube this video gave me the info I needed and got right down to the point. So here are the games from 2024. We have Remnant 2, Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion, Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord, the JACKBOX Party Pack 9, Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous, No More Heroes 3, Travis Strikes Again, No More Heroes Complete Edition, DEADCRAFT, Steep, and for PlayStation Premium we have Job Simulator for the PSVR 2, Summoner, Ratchet & Clank Size Matters, and John Dark. And for 2023, let's go through that list real quick as well. We have It Takes Two, which no longer is on Extra, but it was a monthly game, Sniper Elite 5, SnowRunner also left PS Plus Extra, World War Z, The Ascent, Undertale, this is the big one this month, SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom, this one also left PS Plus Extra, but was a monthly game, Melty Blood, Type Lumina, Dismantle, CIRCUS ELECTRIQUE, Dynasty Warriors 9, Samurai Warriors 5, My Little Pony, A Maritime Bay Adventure. This one actually left Extra. It's no longer there. I know you're disappointed. Fast and the Furious, Spy Racers, Rise of Shifter, not on Extra. Monster Jam, Steel Titans, also not on Extra. It's gone. And for PlayStation Premium tier, we have Gravity Crash Portable, Twisted Metal, and Twisted Metal 2. So that concludes the list of the games that might be leaving next month. So again, if you're new here, not every game from this list is going to be leaving, but chances of the games that are leaving to be from this list is quite high. See our previous videos for the success rate. We've been doing pretty good. So if you enjoyed how this video got right to the point, just leave a like and see ya later. Maybe consider subscribing if you like the idea of having a 2-week head start. But for those sticking around, we're going to go through in more detail on what these games are about and show you some gameplay footage to help you decide if any of these games are even worth playing. Because if you're not familiar with any of these games, all you have is the box art. And you can't always judge a book by its cover. I mean, just look at Undertale. Like, how could this game possibly have such a high rating? Speaking of rating, we will be telling you the Metacritic rating and also from how long to beat the runtime. Because even if a game is really good and well praised by critics and users alike, if there's not enough time to beat it, then you probably shouldn't start it. Because there's nothing worse than being so invested in a game and getting to the end, only to have the rug pulled from right under you. And you lose all access to that game because it left PS Plus Extra. So without further ado, thanks for sticking around and let's get started. Remnant 2 is the kind of game that throws you into the deep end and dares you to swim. It fuses the punishing mindset of Dark Souls, but instead of swords and shields, it's third-person gunplay, with a similar loot chase to Destiny and Borderlands and the procedural levels of Returnal. So because of this, each run feels different. The gunplay is crisp and weighty, but Remnant 2 refuses to be just a mindless shooter. Enemies stagger, flank, and punish greed. So you're constantly juggling stamina, reload timings, and well-timed dodge rolls. The builds matter a lot here. The depth is shockingly high for a game that looks, at first glance, like just a co-op shooter. Visually, it's all over the place, but in the best way. One moment you're walking through a desolate sci-fi wasteland, and the next you're in a twisted fantasy forest or a creepy Victorian-style city. The enemy designs are just as varied and just as difficult. So let's speak about the difficulty. If you play this solo, Remnant 2 is technically balanced so that enemy health scales down if you go it alone. But make no mistake, having a buddy there to revive you is going to be so huge. Fights that normally feel a little bit tense in co-op can become near survival horror when playing them solo, because a single mistake means restarting an entire checkpoint. You'll spend half the fight sprinting just to heal in peace. Now it is doable solo and incredibly rewarding, but the learning curve is steep. Think early game Elden Rings but with guns. Some people like that difficulty, so play it solo if you crave that white knuckle one more try rush, or much more preferably, find a friend and play co-op. Remnant 2 received a Metacritic score of 80 and it's a great game, but since this is a co-op shooter, it's going to take a long time to play. If you only focus on the story, minimum hours, we're looking at 18. And if you want to go for the platinum grind, you're looking at up to 83 hours. So I'm not sure. This game might be worth trying, but I don't know if you're going to beat it in time, especially if you plan on playing with a friend. Scheduling these games is kind of tough sometimes. Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion. This is a remaster of the 2007 game for the PSP, which was a prequel to Final Fantasy VII, and it's all about Zack Fair, an upbeat, slightly dorky soldier who ends up playing a key role in the events that lead into Cloud's story. The combat is real-time, more action-focused than classic Final Fantasy, with flashy moves, summons, and a roulette-style mechanic that adds random buffs mid-fight. It feels kind of like a lighter version of Final Fantasy VII Remake, but with its own old-school charm. The story leans heavily into melodrama and fan service, so if you're already invested in Final Fantasy VII, it is a must-play. But even if you're brand new, there's something endearing about Zack's journey. He goes from an eager rookie to a tragic hero. If you focus on the main story, it takes about 14 hours to finish, around 21 if you're doing all the side content, and up to 46 hours for a platinum trophy. The remaster was received well overall, but not as good as the original. It's sitting at a 78 on Metacritic. Mount and Blade 2 Bannerlord. This is a medieval warfare sim, part grand strategy game and part RPG sandbox. This game throws you into a massive living world where you can be anything from a mercenary captain to the ruler of a kingdom. You're managing armies, trading goods, forming alliances, and taking part in huge real-time battles with hundreds of soldiers. You're not just commanding here, you're fighting on the front lines too. It's kind of like Total War meets Skyrim, but with a lot more spreadsheets and siege engines. The learning curve can be pretty steep, especially on console, and early game combat can feel pretty unforgiving. But once it clicks, it's incredibly satisfying and rewarding. Playthrough, you're looking at about 40 to 60 hours, and you could easily double that if you're chasing the platinum. Currently on Metacritic, it holds a rating of 77 with a user score of 8.0. But again, because this game is leaving, I wouldn't bother with it. These games can suck up way too much of your time. If you like this kind of game, just buy it. Don't try to beat it all in a few weeks. Okay, this one's a bit of a weird one. The JACKBOX Party Pack 9. This is a collection of 5 party games designed for group play. You can play them in the same room at an actual party, or you can connect remotely. And here's where it gets weird. Players log in with their smartphones or tablets and use those as controllers. So this makes it easy to be a big party game and get everyone to join in whether they're a gamer or not. This party pack includes 5 games. There's like a trivia bluffing game, a reality TV inspired game where players adopt quirky personas and vote each other out, and another game where players sort falling answers into the correct order based on given prompts, testing their knowledge and coordination. Typically, games can be played from 3 to 10 participants. Ratings for this game are a bit weird because the Metacritic score is a high of 81, but users thought it did not deserve that at all, and I kind of agree with them. The users gave it a 5.3. Now, this is a party game, so at least it's going to be a short game. You're looking at about 3 hours. Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous is a massive story-driven CRPG based on the Pathfinder tabletop rule set. Think Baldur's Gate 3 or Divinity Original Sin 2, but with a darker, more demonic twist. You lead a party of heroes in a war against a full-blown demon invasion. It's packed with branching quests, moral dilemmas, and tactical combat that can be played in turn-based or real-time with pause. The game lets you customize your main character in absurd depth, race, class, mythic path, even the nature of your soul. It's incredibly rich but also overwhelming at times, especially if you're new to this style of a game. The difficulty can be brutal. Expect anywhere from 55 to 240 hours. Pathfinder is sitting at an 83 on a Metacritic with a user score of 7.7. No More Heroes 3 is a chaotic, over-the-top action game where you play as a Travis Touchdown, a katana-wielding otaku assassin taking on alien superheroes who invaded Earth. It's stylish, self-aware, and completely unhinged in the best way possible. Expect a mix of hack-and-slash combat, weird mini-games like toilet cleaning and lawn mowing, and frequent fourth wall breaks. If you like Bayonetta or Devil May Cry, this one's in the same vein, it's just a lot weirder. Combat is fast and flashy, it's got wrestling suplexes, death blows, and a slot machine mechanic that can randomly power you up mid-fight. But outside the boss battles, the open world feels a little bit undercooked, more like a hub for side activities rather than a full sandbox. It's a game that lives for style and spectacle, not polish. If you stick to the main story, it's about 12 hours, and if you go all the way to the platinum, it's about 29 hours. It's a pretty well received game with a critic score of 75 and a user score of 8.0. If No More Heroes 3 is the explosive headliner, then Travis Strikes Again No More Heroes is the strange side project that came before it, a spin-off that ditches the usual assassin rankings in favor of a meta game within a game journey. This time, Travis gets sucked into a haunted game console called the Death Drive MK2, where each level is its own wild genre parody, everything from side-scrolling brawlers to puzzle games and visual novels. The combat is more stripped down here. It's still hack and slash, but simplified for couch co-op or solo play. It's not as refined or ambitious as the number titles, but it leans hard into the absurdity and indie spirit that defines the series. Expect a runtime of about 10 hours or 17 hours if you go for the platinum run. Although users didn't mind it and gave it a score of 7.7, critics hated it and gave it a 67. DEADCRAFT is what happens when you mash together a zombie apocalypse, survival mechanics, and a dash of dark humor. The twist in this game is you can grow your own zombie minions and use undead powers in combat, turning the usual zombie formula on its head a little bit. Gameplay blends real-time action, crafting, and light base building. You'll scavenge for supplies, build weapons, manage hunger and thirst, and choose whether to help survivors or infect them. Combat is scrappy but satisfying, especially once you unlock your zombie abilities. DEADCRAFT got a rating of 76 with a user score of 7.4. Because this is like a base building and crafting game, it's going to be a pretty long runtime. We're looking at about 30 hours. Sniper Elite 5 drops you into France as Carl Fairburn, a one-man stealth army with a talent for long-distance headshot and creative sabotage. It's kind of like a Hitman game that takes place in World War II, with the premise of a third-person Wolfenstein plot and the X-ray damage cams from Mortal Kombat. The game leans heavily into the open-ended mission design, giving you sprawling maps and multiple objectives, but letting you decide how to get the job done in what order, or whether you want to sneak up and melee people or snipe them from far away to get that glorious kill cam that these games are famous for. The real draw here is the sniping. You'll need to account for distance, wind, and even your breathing. Not like other games, where you just line up the shot and you automatically get a headshot from like 200 meters away. Every time you hit the shot, you get rewarded by that signature slow-mo X-ray cam that graphically showcases bones shatterings and organs bursting. But beyond the sniper fantasy, there's a solid third-person stealth gameplay in here somewhere. There's even co-op options and an invasion mode where another player can hunt you down as an enemy sniper. Think Dark Souls, but with rifles. The main mission only takes about 10 hours, but because of the open design and your freedom to do whatever you want and in what order, it can take up to 42 hours to get the platinum. Critics gave it a 77 with an average user score of only 6.4. Personally, I kind of liked it. It was way better than I thought. World War Z is cut from the same cloth as Left 4 Dead or Back 4 Blood, so if you played those games, you know what to expect. It's a third-person co-op shooter that throws you and up to 3 other players into fast-paced missions against massive swarms of zombies. Inspired more by the movie than the book, it's all about facing quantity over quality. Hundreds of undead can pour at you like a tidal wave. You'll travel across cities like New York, Jerusalem, Tokyo, and Moscow, taking on short objective-based levels with different class abilities and upgradable weapons. It's a great little pick-up-and-play title with a campaign that takes about 6 to 8 hours. It only has a rating of 67, and users gave it an even lower 6.3. The Ascent is a gritty top-down action RPG set in a stunning cyberpunk world where mega corporations run everything and then suddenly collapse. You play as a corporate grunt turned reluctant hero, trying to survive the chaos after your employer mysteriously shuts down. It's part Diablo, part Ruiner, with twin-stick shooter combat layered over RPG mechanics. Oh, and it's also co-op. It has dense neon streets, glowing markets, and rusted slums. Combat is fast and flashy with lots of guns, grenades, and cybernetic upgrades, but enemies can hit hard, especially in solo play. You can play the entire thing solo or up to 4 players co-op, and the difficulty will scale accordingly. You can beat the main campaign in 12 hours or take up to 26 hours to get the platinum. The Ascent received a score of 74 with a user score of 7.6. Undertale is the highest game on this list. It's one of the highest games on PS Plus Extra, actually, and it looks like this. It's a one-of-a-kind RPG that flips everything you expect from the genre on its head. You play as a child who falls into the underground, and your choices define everything. Will you fight all the monsters on your way out, or spare every enemy you meet and make friends with them? And the game remembers what you do, even across playthroughs. This is exactly how I played it. I might replay it and choose the more violent approach, but playing it passively had its own challenges, and it was really fun and memorable. The combat is part turn-based, part bullet hell dodging, where you talk, flirt, joke, or act your way through encounters. The writing is very clever, the characters are unforgettable, and the light humor can turn into heartbreak in a second. It looks very simple on the surface, but it's one of those games where the emotional impact hits much harder than you would expect. When I went into the world of streaming, I only streamed Outer Wilds and this game, Undertale. They were so fun to have an audience for. It technically can be beat in 7 hours, but you'll want to see both endings. It has a crazy good score of 92 on Metacritic with a user score of 8.6. This is a weird one, Melty Blood type Lumina. This is a fast-paced 2D anime fighter. It delivers high-speed combat with stylish combos, air dashes, and a focus on tight technical play. If you're into games like Guilty Gear or BlazBlue, this fits right in. What sets Melty Blood apart is how fluid and accessible it feels, even for newcomers. The auto combo system lets you pull off flashy moves with ease, while veterans can really dig into the deep mechanics. It's a game that rewards creativity and precision, and I will never play it, I'm sorry. The single-player content is light, about 3 to 5 hours of character stories. But the focus is on multiplayer, which will take forever for you to play and beat. Can you even beat a multiplayer fighting game? It holds about a 75 on Metacritic. I wouldn't recommend it. CIRCUS ELECTRIQUE is another weird one. It's a turn-based tactical RPG with a steampunk twist, where your party isn't made up of knights or soldiers, but circus performers. You'll recruit strongmen, fire breathers, escape artists, and more to battle a mysterious madness spreading through London. It's part Darkest Dungeon, part Slay the Spire, with a unique performance management layer on top. Each performer has their own quirks, stress levels, and synergy with others, and positioning matters a lot. But outside the combat, you're also running the circus. You're choosing acts, managing morale, and keeping the show profitable to support your resistance. The game runs like 14 to 15 hours, but could take up to 50 hours for a platinum. Has a rating of 70 with a user score of 5.5. Ouch. Dynasty Warriors 9 tries to reinvent the long-running hack-and-slash series with an open-world format, but the results are kind of a mixed bag. You play as legendary generals in China's Three Kingdoms era, mowing down literal armies of enemies in flashy over-the-top combos. That core power fantasy is still here, but this time it is stretched across a massive map filled with side missions, resource gathering, hunting, and even climbing towers. It's a bold swing, but the open world feels empty, and the new systems can feel like padding more than meaningful additions. The combat itself is still satisfying in short bursts, but it loses its impact without the tight mission design the series is known for. It only got a rating of 65, and the main mission can take up to 30 hours, but because it's an open world game, it could take up to 176 hours. The next game is called Samurai Warriors 5, and it looks a lot like the last one. And that's because they're actually part of two different series made by the same developer, Omega Force, and published by Koei Tecmo. You'll notice they look a lot alike. But while Dynasty Warriors focuses on China's Three Kingdoms, Samurai Warriors is set in Japan's Sengoku period. So if you like one, you might enjoy the other. Samurai Warriors 5 has anime-inspired visuals and a tighter narrative. You play as legendary samurai hero, battling massive waves of enemies with fast, flashy combos and special moves, just like the last game. The gameplay is a satisfying mix of hack-and-slash action and strategic positioning, so very similar to Dynasty Warriors, but with more polish and a smaller, more focused roster. You'll face sprawling battlefields packed with enemies, all the while unlocking powerful skills and upgrading weapons. Samurai Warriors has a better rating of 75 and a much shorter runtime of 17 hours if you focus on the main mission. But these are huge games, so it could take you well over 100 hours to complete, if you're going for the platinum. Anyways, those are all the games that might leave from PS Plus Extra. Sorry I didn't cover the premium games, but this video is long enough as it is. What did you think of this format? Did you like these 1-minute overviews of what the gameplay is like? Is this what you want to see in future videos? Thanks for watching all the way to the end. We won't know which games are leaving until mid-month, so come back to this channel in 2 weeks for the official announcement. And if you're watching this video later, just check the chapters. If you hover over the video, it will say whether the prediction was correct or whether the game is still on PS Plus Extra. Luckily for me, there's not a single game on here I want to play. Maybe Remnant 2, but there's not enough time to play it. Thanks for watching, and until next time, be a friend, and I'll see you again.